You want to talk about a show that set women back is The View. There are so many brilliant women out there. None of them are on The View. None of them have gone near the set of The View. I mean, they have brought in the lowest tier of the, what is it, the Y chromosome?
No, double X.
Okay.
Double X.
They brought in the lowest of the double X's for that one. It's rough.
Why doesn't The View have any trans women on it?
Great point. It has a lot of women that look trans, but none of them.
The View, a show that's been around forever, churning out its recycled opinions and scripted outrage day after day. Yet somehow it manages to remain a staple of daytime TV, but when you dig a little deeper, it becomes clear. The View is a show that sets women back.
Can I suggest a thing for The View? This is a suggestion I have. Men.
No chance.
Just men on the show.
But women watch it. See, that's the thing. It's like, it's a lot of it is women that are home, right? During that time. It airs during the day.
What if we put the women in the audience and that the men discuss the issues? This is just an idea I have for ABC, corporate.
Well, clearly.
Or have one woman serve everyone drinks and give her a quick opinion. Quick. In and out. Just
and
go like.
The guys go, ah.
Just go. She walks in. She goes, yeah, Israel seems like it's a go. Thanks. And then they keep going. I think that's a happy medium.
Both in terms of its intellectual content and its overall tone. Seriously, when you think about all the brilliant women out there, none of them have ever graced that set. Instead, The View seems content to feature women who often come across as misinformed or stuck in a bubble, seemingly detached from the real world. Why does this show continue to thrive? Well, it's an enigma wrapped in a riddle, but it's also the perfect target for guys like Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon. These two have absolutely no filter, and when they turn their eyes on The View, it's like a roast that never stops. Imagine this, two guys with zero patience for nonsense about to dismantle everything you thought you knew about political discourse and media portrayal. It's comedy gold, and you've got a front row seat. Let's start with a tough question. Why doesn't The View have any trans women on it? That's right. The View has a lot of women who look like they could be trans. Don't get me wrong, they're certainly part of the XX crowd, but not a single trans woman has been invited onto the set. Isn't that a bit of an oversight? Especially when the panel consists of women who often espouse ideals about inclusion, empowerment, and diversity. What gives? Is it because they might actually challenge the outdated views circulating on the show? Maybe the network is scared of what might happen if they allowed a trans voice in the conversation.
When Tulsi Gabbard got on to defend herself and Joy Behar starts panicking and going over her notes while Tulsi is refuting everything that she said.
Yeah, I mean, Joy Behar, like, again, these people have dementia. These are people who, like, should not be allowed out of the house. They have a national platform. I mean, it is crazy. They have no idea. These people have never read, like, a book.
Yes, though. I mean, The View has to be, if you average out The View hosts, among the dumbest people on television. And so it's like they say the thing that people are thinking, but they say it very directly, so they expose whatever truth. But
I don't think some of them are dumb.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think Sunny Hostin's
You think it's deliberate?
I think she's ideologically driven, and they have blinders on, for sure. I don't think Sunny's dumb. But Whoopi is certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense.
Now picture this. Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon, the comedic duo we never knew we needed, decide to tear into The View's hosts. Joe Rogan's been making waves in the podcasting world, challenging the establishment and calling out the mainstream media for years. Tim Dillon, on the other hand, is like the chaotic, over-the-top comedic whirlwind who takes no prisoners. And when they come for The View, it's not just a critique. It's a full-on roast session that's so good, you'll want to watch it on repeat. So Rogan and Dillon take aim at The View hosts. No, they don't tiptoe around it. These guys go full beast mode. The moment they get started, it's clear. The View is in serious trouble. It's as if they've opened a treasure chest of jokes, criticisms, and hot takes that the world's been waiting for. Why does The View even exist at this point? Seriously, is there any substance to this show beyond recycled opinions and fake outrage? You have to ask yourself, how is it that a show that offers absolutely nothing of real value still has a national platform? It's like a slow-motion car crash, except there's no thrilling explosion, just a drag of nonsense that keeps on going day after day.
I grew up, daytime TV was about, like, seasonal cupcake recipes.
Yeah.
Why are we doing the Holocaust at 11 a.m.? It's 11 in the morning. Why are we doing the Holocaust? Calm down. Daytime TV is for people to get into the day. We don't need to be doing genocide early. Like, relax.
I heard you put the call in to get Whoopi out of there.
I did. Because I wanted her to take a time out.
And don't even get me started on the hosts. Whoopi Goldberg, a former actress turned talk show host who somehow thinks her political commentary is as insightful as a fortune cookie's wisdom. Joy Behar, if you've ever had an aunt who can't stop talking about politics despite knowing very little about them, you've seen the blueprint for Joy. Then there's Sarah Haynes, who offers opinions that feel as though they have been plucked from thin air. No research, no facts, just hot takes. And finally, Meghan McCain, the conservative mouthpiece whose takes have been recycled so many times, they've lost all flavor. It's a circus, and all of them are the clowns. Rogan, being the beast he is, doesn't hold back. He walks into the lion's den and immediately begins dismantling The View with a calm and calculated precision. His critiques aren't laced with insults for the sake of it. They're backed by logic.
That's why people like our show, because they know that we are checked by ABC News. But
we're checked by everybody.
Yeah, I mean, if we're wrong, we have, the legal note here.
The human legal note.
I don't know. Hey, this is the most important part. This is right after she was saying, we are run by ABC News. You should trust us, not Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. So she by saying we should trust them because they're double checked by ABC News, and then making the stupidest f***ing statement. Like you didn't listen to what I said.
Yeah.
You didn't listen to what the wildlife out, and that's only a part of what he said.
I can't believe
the other
Joy
part of what he
Behar
said
didn't
was
weigh-
there was something before that where he was explaining encounters with giant reptiles.
For example, when The View hosts start gushing about the greatness of social programs and progressive policies, Rogan simply asks, but what are the results? He points out the undeniable failure of some of the left's most cherished policies, cities overrun with crime, homelessness on the rise, and he's not afraid to say that these are the direct consequences of flawed policies. Enter Tim Dillon, the comedic storm that's about to blow The View to smithereens. While Rogan is all about logical arguments, Dillon is the wrecking ball, turning everything into a punchline. He steps in with his usual flair and relentless sarcasm, and it's hard to tell whether he's joking or just tapping into some deeper truth about The View's absurdity. Dillon doesn't stop at pointing out the hypocrisy. He blows it out of proportion in the most hilarious way possible. The View's hosts can't seem to get through a discussion without throwing in their personal feelings. For Dillon, this is like watching a group of people who are lost in a world of emotional sound bites without any real substance. The absurdity of it all is a perfect setup for Dillon's trademark humor. He's like a human wrecking ball, charging through The View's flimsy arguments with the force of a freight train. Now, let's talk about the real point that Rogan and Dillon drive home. The View, in all its well-coiffed, polished glory, is a perfect example of the hypocrisy within mainstream media. These hosts sit there believing that their opinions somehow matter more than anyone else's. What makes them so special? Is it their credentials? Nope. It's simply the fact that they're on TV. They're like a group of people who think their discussions about politics are groundbreaking, when in reality, they're just regurgitating talking points without ever doing any real research. Rogan and Dillon cut through all the noise and expose the glaring flaws in the narratives being spun. They lay bare the inconsistencies, the contradictions, and the intellectual laziness that defines daytime TV. These two don't just critique The View, they tear it down piece by piece, revealing everything that's wrong with this shallow media landscape. The fans of The View, they're not the sharpest tools in the shed. Rogan and Dillon aren't shy about pointing this out either. They call out the real demographic that's tuned in. Older, perhaps immobile, women who have little better to do than tune in every day. They're being fed the same tired talking points, and frankly, these viewers are the ones who keep the show alive, whether they realize it or not. Rogan and Dillon argue that the reason The View continues to pull in viewers isn't because it's delivering meaningful, thoughtful discourse. It's because it's a comfort zone for people who don't want to think critically. And the hosts know this, which is why they keep pushing the same tired narratives. What Rogan and Dillon are really doing goes beyond just roasting The View. They're calling out the system. They're challenging the mainstream narrative that has been allowed to dominate media for far too long. When Rogan makes his critique, he's not just slamming a talk show, he's criticizing an entire media ecosystem that thrives on regurgitating the same viewpoints without ever offering a fresh perspective. Dillon, on the other hand, highlights how ridiculous it is that The View gets away with presenting itself as a bastion of intellectual discourse when it's really just a daytime soap opera filled with self-important opinions. By taking aim at the show, Rogan and Dillon aren't just mocking the hosts, they're mocking the whole system of mainstream media that doesn't ask hard questions or challenge the status quo. After everything is said and done, the one thing that stands out is this. Rogan and Dillon aren't just making fun of The View, they're making a broader cultural statement. They're showing us that it's okay to laugh at the absurdities of mainstream media. They've done what so few are brave enough to do, call out the obvious flaws and turn them into something worth watching. At the end of the day, The View might have its fans, but it's hard to ignore the glaring truth. It's a show that doesn't have much to offer. If you want real conversations, you might need to look elsewhere. So here's to Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon, two guys who've managed to turn the tables on a show that has long since lost its grip on reality. Keep laughing, folks. You're not the only ones seeing through the nonsense. So after all the chaos, the roasting, and the honest critique, one thing is crystal clear. The View has become an outdated relic, far removed from meaningful discourse. What was once a show trying to spark conversation has now become a stage for recycled opinions and hollow outrage. Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon have shown us that it's possible and even necessary to call out the absurdities in mainstream media without holding back. They've dismantled The View with a mix of sharp insight and comedic brilliance, exposing its flaws for all to see. But here's the bigger takeaway. It's time for a shift. The kind of conversations we need, genuine, critical, and diverse, can't be found on shows like The View. We need spaces where different perspectives are welcomed, where we can challenge the status quo, and where the focus is on truth, not ratings. So what do you think? Are we ready to start demanding more from our media? Are you tired of the same tired talking heads and scripted outrage? If so, join the conversation. Share this roast with your friends, challenge the narratives you're fed, and let's start pushing for a new kind of discourse, one that's more real, more honest, and a lot less like The View. The conversation doesn't stop here, and neither does the fight for a more informed and diverse media landscape. Let's change the game together.